Hello. Wait, where do I look at? No way, right? So I can look at the camera? Oh, no, right? Okay. Oh, no, right? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Hi, my name is Foong. I am what you call a media artist slash educator slash creative technologist. Today we are at one of my sets, I guess. We're in all the way in Penang. And yeah, we are setting up for a Boomi Fest. We have a gig with Yuseng this Saturday. And yeah, so the story here. I was in architecture for a bit. I was in architecture for a year actually. And then I didn't really like it. And I think I didn't really know how to appreciate it back in the day. But I felt like my 1 year of architecture education kind of shaped a lot of how I think as well, in terms of working methodology wise. And after architecture, I came into MMU. Initially, I wanted to do animation, but for some reason it didn't work out, and I went into this course called Media Arts. Yeah, and then that's where I get to play with like technology and art, and then one thing led to the other, and then yeah, started doing more like passion projects, experiment. It's kind of just like organically grew into whatever I'm doing now, I would say. Yeah, so generally that's it. Yeah, I had a lot of influence during my formative years, like Kurokawa, Ikeda. The Canon media artist has always been there. A lot of like producers and music stuff. I like a lot of like Kang Ding Ray stuff. But I think usually how I start work is that I think I'm just kind of like a nerd. I have this interest with how technology works, and I almost have kind of a kinship with the medium or the technology that I'm working with. So usually the process is really much finding, I guess, the essence of what the technology can express or do aesthetically. Yeah. In a lot of times it's that way. But of course it's influenced and informed by a lot of my references as well. Yeah. I would say it was never a struggle for me picking mediums in art. It was because I see everything as kind of like an experience, right? And then an experience being, so I know that I like performance a lot, and I feel like the space of performing, it's like it only happens in a specific point of time, but then naturally my interest with like sound and like space kind of just naturally align to things. Yeah, so when I first started like doing stuff like this, I think it was in MMU as well. It was one of like a assignment. There was like this festival called Like the Uni, and me and a bunch of friends, we wanted to do something to do with lights and then with space, and then we just kind of scrap some things together. The performance aspect of it is like something that I was always drawn to. Yeah, it's just that at the same time I don't really know how to play any instruments or anything, so it's just a natural progression to be engaged with the medium you're familiar with. In this case, it's just like laptops and lights and electronics and stuff. Yeah. So the best advice I've got that I still yet to implement is have limits. Like having some structure to be creative around, because I tend to I'm a very jumpy person and very organic. I always like to be in the flow state, but sometimes it can be very overwhelming. So having some sort of structure or like some limits actually help you ground yourself in the project, and I think it's very helpful for me and I'm still to this day trying to implement this more in my work. Yeah. And second, of course, is exposure. Just go to watch more stuff, see more things, travel. Definitely it was a big thing for me. Yeah. I think a lot of the times it's just I really want to see it in real life. Yeah, a lot of the things, just the pure joy that you get when it's manifested in front of you. Not many, just like it happens, you know. Because I'm a big towards like experiencing things lah. And one of the more formative, like going to shows, like watching a really good set, watching really good immersive like performances, like really changed my life lah. And I feel like that's, if I am able to provide that to somebody else, that would be great. Yeah. So like personally, I have always wanted to work with lasers, and it has always been like I usually, maybe I had an idea, maybe the thought of working with lasers is probably like a year or two ago, but then maybe having the means of actually playing with one only came a year after. And then just so happens coincidentally, like John and Yuseng reached out, and then so happens they were also looking for a space given outdoors, and I felt like it would be good to just, you know, try what I've been working on already here. So I would say my process is, I always starts with my own interest in something, but it might take some time for that interest to, you know, come to fruition. Yeah. And then it's just like, I'm just kind of researching, surveying things, see how things work, and then having this space is like, yeah. So I would say like, I tend to take my time lah with things like this, especially like if it's a physical setup. Yeah. So I tend to like have a few interests or projects or like works in progress that I have, but eventually when they align, then I get to try to make things work. Yeah. I think just jump right into it. If you have to run before you walk, sometimes that's great also. I think that's how I started. I ran first and then I started walking, and I think sometimes it works, and especially for me lah. Because I think like audiovisual like stuff, it can be very overwhelming, but then sometimes if you don't push it, you will not complete it. So sometimes I would say like, yeah, if it's a 100-meter race, just go all out. If it's not perfect, it's fine, but at least you get the feeling of the momentum that is needed for work like this. Then you can slowly adjust later on, I would say.
Thank you so much for answering our questions.
Thank you so much. Does it work?
Yeah, it works.
Works?